Hello my friends, it's Truex31 here. I haven't talked to you in a while. I know that because it's May 3rd and when I look out my window the snow is almost gone. So spring has almost come to Saskatchewan. It's 9 degrees today. Hoping might get up to teens, maybe even higher on the weekend. So that's awesome. We can finally get on with it. So anyway, we've talked about heat loss, we've talked about floor coverings, we've talked about tubing installation methods, flow rates, a few other things, and today I want to talk about pipe sizing, okay? So take a look at what I have on the whiteboard today. 3 identical rooms, okay? I have the same flow rate in each room, 0.8 US gallons a minute. And I want to decide what size of tubing I should use. Now in the old days, when I started 25 years ago, we had one size of pipe. It was 5/8 tubing. So we would install a loop in such a manner doesn't really matter how right now, of 5/8 tubing, and then we do some math, and you can find this stuff on the internet and figure out what kind of flow rates we have. Well, not flow rates, but friction loss. The important thing about picking your pump is knowing, 1, the flow rate, and then 2, knowing the pressure drop in the loop, okay? So in this case, I said each room is identical, so each one of my loops is 120 feet, okay? So when I do the math on that, I find out that there is only 1.25 feet of head in that loop, and feet of head is just another way of saying friction loss, right? Or PSI drop. So 1.25 feet of head, or half a PSI loss from the start of the loop to the end of the loop. Now I know just by looking at those numbers that water is moving really slow. In this case it's actually moving 1 foot per second. And at 1 foot per second, I also know that that's too slow for a radiant floor heating system. The water moving so slow that any trapped air can't be moved along, and you can easily get an airlock, and then once that happens you're not getting any heat transfer. So very shortly they developed a smaller diameter tubing, 1/2-inch tubing, same pipe of course, but laid out in the same manner. Tubing's the same length, but it's just a smaller diameter, in this case 1/2 inch. I do the math on that, I find out there's 3 feet of head in that loop, or 1.5 PSI pressure drop, and you know, that's still a little bit low. I mean, in this case I'm only moving at a 1.5 foot per second rate, and that's still a little slow to get the air out of the system, but that is typically what every designer will use today. It's just easier to design with one size of pipe than changing it up. But take a look at the third possibility. In this case we use 3/8 tubing. When you work the numbers on 3/8 tubing, you come up with 13 feet of head, or a 5.3 PSI pressure drop, and a velocity of 2.7 feet per second. And that's very achievable for any low price circulator. You need to know the flow rate and the pressure loss to pick the right circulator, but that's certainly doable for anything on the market today. Okay. Now I don't profess to be a circulator expert by any means, but you know, I'll throw out a couple of names of people who are. And the first one is John Barba. I would suggest following John Barber at BarbaJoe1 on Twitter. He has some great blogs, knows a lot of information, works for Taco. He's a great friend of mine. And the other, David Halldorf. Follow him also on Twitter at David Halldorf. And they have, again, great blogs, great information, so check them out. They'll have great information for you. So anyway, the point of this discussion for us today is, you don't have to fall into the trap of one size tubing for all. Quite often it may not be the best method. Consider going to a smaller diameter tubing. It's obviously cheaper, gets the job done, in some cases much better. So that's it for today. Until next time, I think we're going to study, maybe we'll go over layout patterns, something like that. So have a great day. Talk to you soon.